Investment bankers almost always use comparables analysis when valuing companies. So if you're trying to break into investment banking, then you can expect to get questions on what is a comparables analysis. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what comparables analysis are and how you can ace this interview question. Hi, I'm Naasir. I started in investment banking in 2013 and I've recruited and interviewed over a dozen candidates. The basic idea behind a comparables analysis is to value a company by comparing it with what other similar companies are being valued at. So, if we take a look at the real estate market, for example, a common way to value a house, an apartment, is to base it on the square foot. So, if in your area the average square foot is being sold at $1,000, and we know that your house has 100 square foot. So we can simply multiply 100 square foot by $1,000 to give your house an approximate value of $100,000. Now that's the real estate market. Now when it comes to investment banking and valuing companies, we use the exact same methodology, but we use different multiples. So instead of square foot, we use EV to EBITDA, EV over EBIT, PE multiples. So I hope that makes sense. Now, in order to do a comparables analysis, there are 5 steps. Step number 1, selecting the comparable comps. Since the value of our company is going to be directly relative to the companies or group of companies we choose, it's important that we choose the right companies. There are a couple of criteria you need to follow when you're choosing your comparable comps. So you have to choose a company which is in the exact same industry, which uses the exact same business model, in the exact same geography. So if you're valuing a company in the US, your comps should also be relatively near. If you choose the wrong company, it's going to negatively impact the value of your company. So it's important that you get this right. Ideally, you need between 6 to 10 companies in order to get a good average. And in order to find this, you can pretty much look at equity research reports. They will pretty much give you a list of similar companies, or you could do some research. Now, it's important that you do some research within the industry so you get a good idea as to what are the competitors which are like this company and which will be good to use as comparables. And if you are struggling to find 6 companies, you can always just relax some of the criterias. So you can find companies which are based in a different location, you can adjust the size, etc., until you have a good set of companies. Step number 2, spreading the comps. This is a time-consuming process of inputting numbers, historical numbers of the companies which you've chosen into Excel. The way we do this is by looking at the company's 10K, its financial reporting, its annual reporting, and just taking numbers, extracting numbers from that and putting it into our Excel template and Excel files. Step number 3 is normalizing our comps. In essence here, we need to adjust our numbers. We need to go into our Excel file and we need to make sure that our numbers do not account for one-off adjustments. So for example, if one of our company has litigation problems, if they have a pension liability, if they have a restructuring fee, if they have something which is not reoccurring, then we have to adjust for that. And the reason why we do this is because we want to compare apples for apples. We want to compare like for like. Step 4 is calculating the valuation multiples. Now that we have all of our numbers, our historical figures in our Excel sheet, we can now start to construct certain multiples. So common multiples which you'll need to prepare are enterprise value over EBIT, enterprise value over EBITDA, PE multiples, PEG, price to book value, and price to sales. Now there are industry specific figures which you also need to be mindful of. So for example, if you're valuing a company in the energy sector, then certain multiples, for example, EV over proven reserves, EV over capacity. If you're going to be valuing a company which is an online company, so you need EV over site visitors. You have to be mindful of the industry you're in and use the relative metrics within that industry. Finally, step 5, applying our multiple to our company which we're trying to value. Now, assuming we've done our analysis correctly and we have a set of 8 companies, we can pretty much just get the average of their EV to EBITDA value, their PE multiples, and then just apply that to our company. So for example, if our average EV to EBITDA multiple is 8, so for example, we would times EBITDA by 8 in order to get the enterprise value of our average comparable set. We would do the exact same thing to our company. We would get our company's EBITDA value, we would multiply it by 8, and that would be the approximate enterprise value of our company. And that's how we would value our company. And that's pretty much it. That's how you would walk through a comparables analysis. Now, if you would like to see a real life demonstration of going through this step by step whilst you follow along in Excel, then consider taking a look at our investment banking training program for graduates and students, where we show you how to build investment banking financial modules, as well as give you investment banking interview questions and ideal answers. Now, during your interview, you will have between 30 to 45 seconds to answer this question of walk me through a comparables analysis. So what we've just gone over is a pretty longer version of that answer. To condense all of this, you can pretty much just go through each step and elaborate if the interviewer asks you for any further follow-up questions. But for those of you that do have the investment banking interview guide, then you pretty much have the ideal answer already there for you. Another relative valuation methodology which investment bankers love to use is precedent transaction. So take a look at that video after this, as well as the famous DCF analysis, which will show you how to walk through it step by step. And since you're guaranteed to get asked that question, it's worthwhile to actually go over it a couple of times. So as usual, if you have any questions, please put it in the comment section below and I'll try to answer it there. If I don't, then I'll answer it in our weekly Q&A session. And as usual, please subscribe and like this video if it has helped you to understand comparables analysis better.